Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I recently got a brilliant Seiko dress watch, the Seiko SAC M171. This is an amazing dress watch that has sort of a grand Seiko look to it, and it's in vintage proportions, even though this is a contemporary watch. As soon as I got it, I did a first impressions video on it, and I've been wearing the watch ever since. And I'm absolutely loving it. So tonight we're going to do a full review of this watch. Let us begin. Here is the Seiko Dolce SAC M171. And it's so crazy to me that you can still purchase these watches new. So these aren't really vintage pieces, but their proportions definitely are. You can see that this is a quartz piece, and it definitely has kind of a grand Seiko aesthetic to it, which is pretty cool. I almost got one of these new, but I found this one on eBay in excellent condition for a bit cheaper, so I went with it. It shipped on the original strap, which is in decent shape, although this hole here is a bit blown out, and I'm always a bit nervous about older straps. So I've ordered 2 straps for this watch, and because my Dolce Vita also has 17mm lugs, the 2 watches can share them. I ordered a dark blue ostrich foot strap and a black lizard strap. This watch had an amazing buckle on it, however, I had to swap it out for this one because the holes were kind of in between size for me, and this makes it fit much better. I feel like the taper on this strap is perfect for this watch, and it's nice and thin, which is good because this case, as you can see, is super thin. The lugs are elegant and just curve in from the case, and they're drilled, so swapping out your straps is a little bit easier because of that. Looking at the case back, we have a nice straightforward brushed friction fit case cover there with some information called out just etched into the back there. We have Seiko, water resistant, stainless steel, and some other info. There aren't even any marks on the case back. That's cool. As I mentioned, this watch is ultra thin. It has a flat crystal on it, and there's a little jewel or faux jewel in the crown here. The crown is absolutely tiny, but this is a quartz watch, so you're not going to be using it a ton. But let's see what it's like to operate that. We'll pop it out. And this movement hacks. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it feels really nice. There's a decent amount of resistance there. We'll get this around to 10 and 2. Pop this back in. And there it goes. Yeah, this crown is pretty nice to use. It feels great. When you pop it out and push it back in, there's a nice clean click to it. And after doing my initial impressions of this watch, I spent some time with it and I realized that this movement actually ticks out loud, kind of like a swatch, only very quietly. But that's pretty cool. I actually like it when quartz watches give off an audible ticking, but that's just me. This crystal is sapphire, which is great. Looking at this dial, there's a nice texture to it. It kind of gives it a little pearly or silvery touch to it. It's not just stark white. These applied batten indices look great and are so Seiko style. I love the Dauphine hands, and they are super mirrored. And all we have printed on the dial is Seiko and Dolce. Perfect. As I mentioned in my first impressions video, this watch is so much like the Christopher Ward Malvern. Only being this thin and flat, I feel like the proportions on this watch are much better than the Malverns were. I loved that watch, but it was so large for its aesthetic. But this one is just absolutely dialed in. The only signs of wear that I've found on this watch are a couple little scuffs on the bezel. Other than that, it's like brand new. Perfect. As for the specifications on this watch, the case size is only 33.5 millimeters. However, being this thin and flat, I feel like this watch wears a bit larger than that. The case height is 5.3 millimeters. The lug to lug is 39 millimeters. The movement inside this is an 8J41 quartz movement. The crystal is sapphire, and the water resistance is 30 meters. Alright, so let me take off my Vostok watch. And this is actually a piece that I just had opened. This is the first watch that I've removed hands from and put hands back on. The seconds hand to this watch was just kind of flopping around. So I figured out how to remove the crown and pulled the movement out of this, removed those hands, and put the hour and minutes hand back on. Made sure they were aligned and not bumping into each other or scraping the dial. I didn't put the seconds hand back on, partly because I thought it would be interesting if it was a two-hander, and I wasn't sure if the seconds hand would continue to flop around or if it had just worked loose. So I just decided to make it a two-hander. Alright, let me take this off and we'll see what the Seiko Dolce is like on my wrist. Here is the SACM 171 on my 7-inch wrist. And look at how crazy thin that watch is. It looks great on that strap. When I bought this, my original idea was to put it on a blue strap, and I will when that ostrich foot arrives, but I'm not sure if I'll end up coming back to the black, because that looks so great in contrast to the light dial. I've been wearing this watch ever since it arrived, and I absolutely love it. That case is so elegant. It's really cool having a watch with the aesthetics of the Malvern again, only in a size that I would actually want to wear more often. Sadly, the Malvern sat in the watch box quite a bit, but I feel like this one's gonna get a ton of wrist time. It's so Grand Seiko-y looking. That's cool. But yeah, if you like these and can handle that small case size, you can track these down both new and used pretty easily. They retail for around $300, and this one was about that after tax and shipping, so I saved a little bit getting this. Yeah, this is an amazing watch. So gorgeous. So there you have it, my absolutely amazing little dress Seiko watch. Thanks for watching.